Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology. This is the uranium sector review for May 12th, 2019. I'm going to do two things here. First, I'm going to go cover the URA ETF, which is the best vehicle that I found to track and gauge the overall sentiment of the uranium sector. I know it's not a pure play, but it's the best I've got. And then I'm going to go through the various stocks in my watch list to get a sense of where they are from a longer term perspective. Let's take a look. So starting with the monthly view from the URA, this is in a bullish wedge that eventually breaks to the upside or to the downside, and it's coiling right now. So it's going to break one way or the other. Obviously, we've had 2 months of poor performance in the URA, not positive, but at some point it can certainly break out to the upside or downside. So far, no direction. Uranium, the weekly chart, same thing. Now it's at that support level around that 1150 area and around that 38 RSI where we found support many times in the past. So this support better hold. If it doesn't hold, we can see a flush down lower. I think it will hold, but nobody knows the future. Let's see what happens. Here's the URA daily chart. And again, we're finding support. Is this going to be an inverse head and shoulders? Here's a shoulder, here's a head, here's a shoulder. And if it finds support here, there is some positive divergence where we've seen much lower prices, but momentum hasn't really broken down to new lows. So this is not a surprise that we're finding support here. Does this rally strong or does it break lower? Time will tell. Here's the hourly. Hourly looks very strong right now. It looks like it's built positive momentum. In fact, momentum was lower here at 12 and lower here at 1188 than when we hit 1144. That's a positive sign. That's what you want to see, and we're making a run towards that 50. I could see some strong bullish action in uranium this week. Here's the uranium monthly, Uranium Participation Corp monthly. This basically tracks the price of uranium, and though we broke down below the 50 RSI, we're still in this uptrend that started in basically October of 2016, and so I think that there's some positive signs that if this holds, this can break back higher in uranium price. But again, this is something to keep an eye on for as PPO is curling lower. Here's uranium weekly here. We kind of had this cup and handle formation that was being built, but we broke lower here, and so we broke below that 38 level, and you want to see this break back above this level if we're gonna really start a new uptrend in uranium. So let's take a look at the actual names in the sector, and I would say that these are by alphabetical order, so they're in no particular order of strength. This is ALX. This has just been dead money until it can break to the upside or to the downside. There's really no trade here. Anfield Energy. This one we currently own, and we like the setup here from a longer term perspective. It's showing some strength, like it's breaking out, and obviously it's fallen back here after not being able to hold that 50 RSI level. But again, we're still in an uptrend. This should hold. If it doesn't hold, then we can see lower prices. But in the meantime, I expect there's a lot of support here, and I expect this to ultimately run higher towards that 50 level. API Energy Corp. This one looks like a cup and handle here, and now it's kind of building this handle here. But again, it broke below the 50 RSI level. It needs to recapture that momentum and fast. Azincourt Uranium, another one that's very interesting. I mean, all of them are interesting. This has been in a price downtrend, but it's building momentum on RSI, and this can break higher and run really fast. So from a pure speculative technical formation, this one is very interesting to watch. Blue Sky Uranium, this one is one that we own, and it broke out of its downtrend. This is where we initially purchased it, right around here at that breakout. We had positive divergence, but we couldn't hold it, and we couldn't hold it because this was previous resistance right around here at the 61 level. Now we're consolidating. So long as this uptrend holds, it's still very positive, but you want to see 50 RSI hold, and we'll see what happens. Cameco, this one is basically URA in a nutshell. It broke down pretty considerably here, and while this could be a good fundamental purchase from a technical standpoint, this kind of looks ugly. So you know, consider using short-term time frames if you want to trade this, but it needs to break. It needs to move back higher from a longer-term perspective. Alaska. Another one that's in this momentum downtrend. It needs to break to the upside. I think at some point this wedge will be broken higher. But again, if you own it here, this is pretty nasty drops every time you're seeing washouts. But there seems to be pretty strong support below that 20-cent level. Deep yellow. Another one that's in a momentum downtrend since basically September of last year. Every time we hit this level, it breaks lower, but eventually I think this is going to break to the upside. If it cannot hold, if it cannot recapture this 26, 27 level, it possibly can go as low as 14 if uranium decides it wants to move lower, not higher. Denison, another one that's got a lot of noise, one of the major players, if you will, in the space, but it hasn't been showing strength right now, and if it cannot break and hold that 50 level, it might make a run back towards that 45-cent zone. Encore Energy, one that we own, that we like quite a lot, but momentum has broken down here, and it's found support at the 50 level, which is very positive. I want to see this consolidate and move back higher, break above this these various downtrends. I think this can be a stock that trades above $1 at some point in a renewed bull market. Energy Fuels. This one I'm just going to draw it a little bit better here. So obviously we broke above this trend line earlier, and then now we broke below the 50 RSI to the downside, and you wanna see this back test hold. I think it will, and I think it moves back higher. So this is an opportunity to start picking up shares at the 250 level if it gets there. But here's a perfectly good time to start dipping your toes if you don't own the position. I think ultimately we're going to be in double digits here on this particular name. It's a question of when, not if. First Vanadium Corp, one again that's also showing some strength over here, that is at that 38 level, and also coincides with the 200-week moving average. So whereas it could still show some weakness here, I think eventually this moves higher and shows significant upside. Fission 3.0, one that we own, and we had a nice run here when we bought it initially. It was a nice gain all the way to 14 cents here, but it's pulled back and basically retesting it from the basically double bottom from the upside. One thing I will point out is that it's showing positive divergence here. It's not so much positive, but that 38 level seems to be a strong level to hold. PPO is still curling higher, and I think eventually this breaks out to the upside and makes new 52-week highs. Fission Uranium, it's just a very busy chart, and until this 70 level breaks to the upside, you're not getting much in terms of long-term returns. Obviously, it's consolidating here, possibly an inverse head and shoulders. Can it break higher? Absolutely, but it needs this downtrend to break to the upside. It needs 50 RSI to be broken from the upside. Until then, it's just a short-term trade. Forces Metals, we own some of this. We like this consolidation in the area of 52-week highs. I think eventually it breaks that 28-cent zone to the upside, but right now it's consolidating and not showing tremendous sign of strength yet. Forum Energy Metals, this one had a beautiful breakout here. We covered this a couple weeks ago, I believe, in one of our videos, and we finally broke out. Wow, that's incredible. Look at the volume. You don't want to chase here. You might want to see it pull back some, but obviously this can go much higher. This is a very, very strong breakout here in Forum Energy. Global Atomic, another one that's got a great fundamental story behind it. It's consolidating here just below that 46 level, and momentum is gathering steam. I think this breaks higher very, very soon. Gold mining, which has a very strong position in the Athabasca Basin. This one is consolidating here, and I think that this eventually is going to coil higher and make a very strong move. Notice its support here around that 38 level. That's not surprising, and I think this is a great area to consider adding or initiating a position here. We do own some of this here. GOVX Uranium, another one that we own, broke out of this downtrend. Now it's consolidating, creating kind of a bullish wedge. Even though we broke below that 50 RSI, we're still above this this RSI momentum. So long as this level holds, I think we'll see much more upside in the future. Greenland Minerals and Energy, another beautiful breakout here. Look at this. That's great. That's precisely what you want to see. And I think that we're going to see 15 cents to 16 cents in the not too distant future from the USD. But look at that. Broke out above the 50 RSI, consolidated, back tested, and now breaking higher with positive momentum. We don't own it, but we wish we did. ISO Energy, this one broke down from this wedge pattern, and we broke below the 50 RSI. Obviously there's a lot of profit taking over here, but this is support right here where we last found support, and I would not be surprised if we curl back higher and move again to the upside. If you don't own it here, this could be a really good interesting level to initiate a position. ISO. Laramide, another one that we own. We just like the setup longer term. It's building kind of double bottom, positive divergence, wants to curl back higher above the 50 RSI, and I think we're going to see 40 cents and eventually close to 60 cents at some point this year. Next Gen Energy, this one, great fundamental story, but you know it's just simply not sexy enough, honestly, for a lot of these speculators. But it's kind of puked out a lot of folks here as it broke below the 200. A lot of stop losses being triggered. This is a great area to start initiating a new long if you were either stopped out or didn't own a position, because this is a solid core holding in the uranium space. Paladin Energy, not much you can see here unless it breaks out from this downtrend. There's really no technical story. Plateau Uranium, another one that's just it creates these bullish wedges and then just pops eventually. So is it going to happen again here? I think so. I think eventually you're going to have a very nice rally, but it's a question of when. So I wouldn't necessarily. You can start dipping your toes in the water, but 45-cent zone is where I'd be considering a new long. PurePoint Uranium, one that we own, we keep adding. We love this technical pattern. It's very similar to the metals company that we chronicled. What's the name of that one? Forum Metals. I just like these consolidations and with positive divergence. Eventually they tend to break to the upside, and the moves are massive. So that's what I'm seeing here from PurePoint, and if this happens, the move can be very, very strong, but it needs to break above 10 cents, really make a run towards that 15-cent zone. Sky Harbor, another one like Next Gen, great fundamental story, but it needs to break the 50 RSI to the upside. Until then, there's more probability of downside than upside. In that name, UEX, another one that we own, great speculative story here. That's a bullish wedge, broke out. Now we're consolidating below the 50 RSI. Below the 50-week moving average. That's positive, and if this level can hold, then that's going to be your sign that this is going to move towards that 20, possibly 30-cent zone. Your Energy URG, this one from a long-term standpoint, this rounded base is very, very positive. It needs to hold that 80 level, and I think eventually it goes much higher. Uranium Energy Corp, UEC, one that we do own, broke out above this downtrend. That's when we initiated our first purchase, and now it's consolidating here. Obviously, it needs to break above the 50 and the 200-week moving averages, but I think we're going to see 190 not too distant future. Finally, a couple more names, or actually Western Uranium, last one on the watch list. This one, cup and handle, and it's kind of getting complex here, but it needs to hold that 70 to 80 cent zone this is a good area to start picking up shares if you don't own it. Look at PPO, it's building strength, and I think eventually it will move higher. It's pretty small float, so this can move very strong. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Please send us a quick note if you would like to be part of the premium service, which is going to have these sort of videos more often, and certainly with the individual names, and they're only going to be available to premium subscribers as of July. Right now, just save yourself a spot on our premium service. We're opening it up to 100. We've got 40 pre-commits, and if you want to be a part of it, we really appreciate your support. Thank you very much, and have yourself a great week.